Alright guys, welcome to Pendragon in Defense of Malahaut. This will be a 4-episode series. We're going to be going through the years 488 to 491, assuming everything works out.
Cool.
To lay this out, this is very much a tight scenario for Malahaut. Your actions can still be heroic and modify things despite us going along the path of a certain direction. This is ultimately a game that supports such things. Before we begin, do any of you want me to go camera mode, or are you comfortable with me going non-camera? I can support either.
I went camera, so doesn't bother me one way or the other.
Okay. No preference?
I don't have a preference either, but I just don't have one. So
yeah, not required. It's not required. I'm happy to go camera. Okay.
Hey.
So we're gonna begin in the thick of things because I think that'll be interesting, and we've only got so much of this game to proceed with.
I did want to ask.
Sure.
I did get one present. We were supposed to hit up page 21.
Yeah. Okay. 1 sec. We can do that.
That was it.
No problem. Let me just track down that page. I believe it's a roll you have to make. One. Yeah, give me a D20 roll.
D20. 14.
A silver dining set for two plates, 2 goblets. It's worth 6 librum, so it's a very expensive thing. Like, that's, to put that into context, you know, that's almost half the price of a knight's horse. So very significant. It could be sold in dire circumstances if you're hard pressed for money.
Not that big a deal.
Cool. All right, I'm gonna kind of do this in the thick of things, like in the middle of it. As we move to the scene, I want maybe both of you to just do some introduction of who your characters are. You're currently coming out of the forest, riding with a small retinue of knights. We'll start with Brunus. What can you tell us about him?
Brunus is not necessarily the biggest or the strongest or even the guy who goes all day. He is by far the prettiest. And it irks him to no end that he is so pretty.
What appearance are you? Just for context.
Basically the picture. He's got a really nice smile, a charming accent, red hair, but he's also got a distinctive scar just right across his just on the edge of his right eye.
All right. And when you say the picture, I'm just curious, as far as Pendragon goes, what's your statistic for app on your sheet?
Oh, 17.
17, yeah. So you're famous for appearance.
I am famous for being just so gosh darn good looking. And it vexes him to no end.
Now, why does it vex him?
Because everyone makes the assumption that because he's pretty, that's all he is. That he is the knight, but he is more interested in being at feast, more interested in being sociable, being with the women and everything like that. When in reality, He just wants to be better than he was yesterday. He fights because he wants to be better than he was the previous day.
Understood.
And it's sort of that thing that just keeps motivating him to move forward.
All right. And let's hear a little bit about Esforus. What can you tell us about Esforus?
Well, Esforus is like, well, all eyes are on Brunus. Not very many eyes actually go to Esforus unless someone's fighting or there's a contest of strength. He's very much a background knight where he doesn't stand out too much because he doesn't really talk loudly enough to be boisterous, but he is often found to be like too out of place and he's a big guy. He's rather large, but when he's in a social setting, he seems pretty awkward about it. But once he gets into a fight or once there's combat or movement happening, he's a lot faster than he seems.
Understood. All right. So as your retinue starts to move out of the forest, let me just modify something here. It's more interesting. You find yourselves on the what is known as the Saxon shore, not far from Dira. Oops. Let me just go ahead and make sure I got you all set up and on the right map. All right. So you would find yourselves right around here, on the southern side of what is known as Dira, which is one of the two northern Saxon kingdoms, so to speak. It used to be part of Malahaut long ago, but it's hard to hold any true claim to it when the Saxons have held it for as long as they have. So, you've been assigned by the king, the Centurion King Heraut, to basically a standard riding patrol, except for it's very early spring, so it's a bit cold out here. Like, it's colder than you or your horses prefer you to be out here. So we're gonna start with a test of your con roll to see if both of you could test your con. Just curious to see how you're faring against the cold. Okay, so Barunus is faring okay.
Not too bad.
Both of you are faring okay. So your hands are a bit, that stingy feeling you have when you have a bit too much cold for too long. But you're not at risk of losing anything. You're toughing it out, and you're complaining less than some of the knights in your retinue. I should note that there are other knights from your family present, including your secondary characters. So for Esforus, your brother Sylvanus is your secondary character. Should Esforus die, tragically, Sylvanus will typically be around to fill in. Same with Ivor for Sir Barunus. So these are your second. It's a standard Pendragon thing. I'm gonna add one more call to a house rule. It's important. Every year, so every game year, starting this year in 488, you'll have one role, just one role that you can choose to change. You can turn a fumble into a failure into a success, or a success into a critical. Any questions on that house rule?
Nope.
Great. Okay. And as far as if I miss you or anything, I know you might be on mute in between things. Just feel free to call me out even if I move past it, and I'll back up to get you.
Yeah, no problem. Everything seems fine, and it upshifts the result.
Perfect. Okay. So as you reach the shore, and this is this is quite south of where Dira's like encampments are. This is more like there should be no civilization down here, no settlements down here. But I'm gonna give both of you awareness rolls as you near the shore.
All right. Awareness isn't too bad. But it is certainly not that good.
All right.
Wish I had your roll.
Right? You would have credited if you had his roll.
I didn't even succeed.
Right. Your duties were to go as far as the coast to scout the southern coast. It's quite foggy up here right now. Pretty hard to see. You're certainly gonna have to get closer to the shore in order to see. Your retinue in general is struggling to be able to see what's going on here.
This is boring.
I mean, you're right. It is boring. It's like there's nothing out here.
Yeah, but I don't mean that specifically, but I hope we don't have to go in the water.
Oof, you don't think he'd ask us to go that far, do you?
Well, if there are enemies there, then that's as far as we have to go. I actually haven't thought about fighting any creatures of the sea. Do you think there might be water dragons?
I'd be terrified if there were. Could you imagine having to try to fight something like that?
Yes. Probably be glorious, but I can't. Swimming would put us at a disadvantage. As he says this, he looks around to just do a head count of the people to make sure we're still together and we haven't lost anybody with all this thick fog.
Yeah, absolutely. Make a battle roll, add +5 to your roll. +5 modifier. Perfect. It looks like you haven't lost anyone in the forest. You're full count strong. I did have a question. So, as far as you have a really younger brother, a squire who's only 18 right now, named Leo. I thought it'd be interesting because you guys have familial connections. Should that be Barunus' squire? Just to give him a name. So Barunus'
yes.
squire can be your youngest brother?
Yes, that would be
all
good.
right.
Great.
Hopefully he'll be as lucky as his father and he'll get to experience all the things that I've got to experience as a squire.
It looks like you got a full count, and you two are, despite you not being the eldest of knights, you are seasoned knights, and you are vassal knights. So the retinue is very much looking to the two of you for leadership as you all kind of ride to a close on the shore. It is very foggy. It makes it hard to see past 20 or 30 feet in front of you. What do you want to do at this point?
Well, our orders are patrol the area. Right up to the coast, right around a little bit. Does he want an extended patrol, or are we just patrolling out a given route and then heading home?
The intention was a given route and then return home, and you would be like one of multiple retinues that would be sent out, every week kind of thing. This is your week right now. This is kind of one of the things you can do when it says garrison duty. Garrison duty also includes patrols typically. So when you saw all those rolls from your fathers and grandfathers where they didn't do much, you're doing that right now.
Asphorus, I swear, you and your need for garrison duty.
I don't need it. It's just required of me. But, to change
You
things up.
spend a significantly engorged amount of time on garrison duty.
It's unfortunate. But
It is unfortunate.
if we're this close to the shore, perhaps we can. Since my younger brother's there, I turn to him and say, perhaps you can find a shell that mother or our sister would like, and they might appreciate it.
All right. And that's to the youngest Leo, like the squire.
Yes, Leo. Yeah.
He looks to Brunus, doesn't ask, but he looks to Brunus to make sure that Brunus isn't opposed to it, since Brunus is
And I
like
give
his
him the wave. Go ahead.
Okay. All right, so
In fact, we're gonna gather up. I'm gonna gather up everyone else, and we're actually all gonna make our way to the beach.
Okay. So as you start to round everyone up, why don't you give me a squire test, Brunus? Remember to change your squire's age to 18. He's not 15. So.
Thought I put him at 18.
Oh, you might have.
Age 18. What sort of squire test am I doing?
I think there's a button on the actual sheet. If not, you can just roll a d20. Squires have this ability to do squire things where it's just their age. So if they're retrieving a weapon for you, or they're performing first aid, or they're doing any of those things, because it's expected of them in their role, they just get their age for a roll. It's kind of see how well they do. It's just a little light mechanic for managing it. All right.
He succeeded.
So, as you're, as you're gathering everyone up, and there are a couple of the knights that are like, you know, breathing on their hands, trying to keep warm. You hear a call out from Leo. Leo sounds in a bit of worry. You both can hear it in his voice, and so much so that he doesn't call you by your titles, because he grew up with you and he kind of forgets it. He says, as far as Brunus.
Yeah, I ride out.
I go to weapon at the ready.
I mean, my weapon's a spear, so it's like always there. Kind of can't do much with a spear to sheath it, so.
All right, I will get awareness test again from each of you.
Still failed.
Okay. Okay, so Brunus, you kind of ride out, and as you're going, you're a bit distracted. A couple of the knights start to ask you some questions about where you're traveling next, and you're forced to turn around and answer them. But as far as you're the first to arrive and see your younger brother's eyes, he seems to be just staring out in wonder and fear, and you see like the fog on the shoreline is patchy, and as the patch kind of moves towards the side, you see this great chain of ships traveling due north along the coast.
Sorry, are they flying any flags or colors that I can recognize?
Heraldry check, and Brunus, your failure doesn't mean you don't see it. It means you're late to it. So Brunus, you're arriving just now as well. You both can do a heraldry test here.
Roll 20 doesn't roll like this for any game but this one.
They are flying banners. The banners are not. They seem to be in the style of Saxons, Germanic Saxons, though you don't recognize the flags, which is worrisome. That means, as far as that, in all likelihood, the Saxons are being reinforced by a new army.
And they're heading north?
Yes. You would know there's potentially two places they'd be likely to land. One is in Indira, which is where one of the Saxon kingdoms is. And then just northeast of Malahaut is Noahut, which is just south of Hadrian's Wall. There's another Saxon kingdom. I believe it's this one right here.
Okay, then and it doesn't look like they're trying to land here. They're just moving up.
Passing by.
Correct.
Well, we've got to go back and inform them of this.
We have to inform the king.
Yes.
In Berenice, you would know that they're likely of the Saxon make, even without failure. You just don't know the complexities.
Hey, do we have anybody who's a scout? One of the men, a couple of the men who are a little bit more knowledgeable hunting and surviving, sort of scouting.
Yep. Yeah, a couple of the men are a bit more huntsmen, for sure.
Alright. So what I want to do, because obviously our main force isn't going to be able to follow them, but a few riders, I want to send a few riders to scout them, see how far north they're going.
Okay. Perfect.
And then report back to the city from there. Report back to the king from there. Because I want to know if they're going to land. I want to know where they're going to land.
Okay. Perfect. What is your battle score, Barunas?
15.
Okay, give me a battle test, please.
All right.
Perfect. So, I haven't been giving you guys ticks. Please open your sheets. Both of you succeeded at battle for different things. Please tick them.
All right.
You're also going to tick, as far as your successful heraldry will be ticked, because that was key. And your as far as your successful awareness as well.
Cool.
Awesome. All right, so you have two ways in which you can return. The faster way and the way you came is through Dira Forest. Now it's worth noting that you're sending your huntsmen away on scouting. So you will be, if you go that way, you'll be forced to lead the path. The wider ways to come around south here and head towards Mount Damon and up through Pockling Town to Eburacum.
I say we follow our route south, just in case they that wasn't the whole group. It's possible that they may have landed. Some of them could have landed earlier.
Very prudent idea, but given the information we have, I say we do need to go through the woods.
That is true, but if there is a threat of Saxons landing near the shore, we probably should investigate it. And I'm pretty sure at this point you know that he just wants to go that way because there's a small possibility that there's a fight.
I thought they were traveling north.
Oh, yes. I guess that's true. Then
South wouldn't take us into the battle.
Guess that's true. But then, yes, well, then we'll go through the woods.
Okay.
But should we send somebody just to continue the route?
Well, we've got scouts trying to figure out where they're going to land, basically shadowing them. We're taking the rest of the forces back to Eburacum to report to the king. Who do you want to send where?
How many people do we have total without the ones that he sent off scouting?
About 17 left.
Okay. I say we send about 5 of them to continue the route down south, just because that's what we were supposed to do anyway, and then the majority of us head back.
If we're splitting our forces like that, one of us should stay with the group.
Okay.
You take a contingent, and take a contingent, I'll stay with the men.
Okay. And I have faith that you will be able to make it through the woods.
All right.
Okay. So we have Barunis and the main retinue going through the forest back through to Eburacum, trying to basically make haste to Eburacum. And then we have a small retinue with Isforus going south to continue the route. Is that accurate?
Yes.
I think the bigger force should go south and stay with Isforus, and I'll take the smaller unit through the woods.
If that's
at this point, I'm just a glorified messenger.
Then I'll send some of the lighter packed guys in that smaller group going towards straight there.
All right. Okay. We'll address these. So what we'll do to make this interesting in case anything does come up, as far as your secondary PCs with Barunis, your secondary PCs with Isforus. So you'll be able to roll for someone. Yeah. Which is part of the fun of this game is in a lot of ways you're playing a house, not just a person, you know? It's kind of got that Game of Thronesy vibe to it too. So with that in mind, we're gonna start with Barunis and a hunting roll.
All right, I at least have this. Yay! I succeeded.
Okay. And I'm gonna get you to make a D100 roll for me.
$51.
51. Okay. Just gonna consult the chart here.
Sorry, we got a lot of jets near my house.
Oh, fair. I couldn't hear a thing, so imagine you're having to go on mute when that happens. Is that the idea?
Yeah, my mic picks up a lot of stuff, so
gotcha.
It shows that it triggers, but I'm not ever sure people can hear it or not. But they're super loud. We get noise complaints on our website all the time.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay, so somewhat likely 50. You rolled a 55, right?
51.
51. Okay. Yeah, so you have 4 men with you, correct?
Yeah, 4.
Okay. Just pulling up something here. We'll start with an awareness test.
Failed.
Okay. We should probably identify the number of knights with you before we get too far.
All right.
So we've got 17. How many are going south and how many are going through the forest?
We've got 17. Scouts went north. Of the 17...
Yeah, 17 left, remaining. Yeah.
4 are going with me.
4 going with you? Okay.
That way we can make best time to Eburacum to deliver our report.
As you're riding through the forest, you're navigating it very well. That was your hunting role, established that. So you can tick that too, by the way.
Okay.
The rolling low mist makes it very hard to see in front of you. But as you reach a clearing, you and your retinue finds themselves face to face with a creature. And I'm going to get you to test folklore. I think you have history with this, so add a 10 to it, please.
Folklore plus 10, huh?
Yeah.
Still failed.
Okay. You're not sure exactly what this thing is. It's either a giant or a troll, but it's massive. Like, its size, in comparison to you, it's size 27. And it seems as surprised as you, but angry and territorial.
Ah, crap.
So you're in command of this group. What do you want to do? What do you want to establish here?
You said it was size 27?
Size 27. A troll is best served against like a retinue of knights, and unfortunately, yours has gone south. I mean, maybe we should start with a valorous test. Let's see how brave Barunis is feeling. So
he's not.
We'll start with
cowarding.
Yeah, fear is not driving you, that's for sure. But you're also not famous for valorous, so being prudent is an option here. You do have a mission to relay a message as soon as possible, and you have this threat in front of you that could wreak havoc on the land. So there's a lot of options here.
It's a lot of options.
If you're not certain on Brunus's decision, I can help you contest a couple of traits to see which way Brunus would go, but I'll leave it to you for a second.
The thing is that Saxons are involved. And if it was anyone else, maybe I'd consider taking this thing on first and then making my way back to King Heraut. However, Saxons are involved. So,
all right. So with Saxons involved, I think what you're suggesting is that your duty to the king outweighs this immediate.
Is going to outweigh the immediate threat that we've got right here.
All right.
Now, I don't want to. Essentially, I want to skirt around it.
Okay.
Without taking our eyes off of it. So if it does charge us, we can either start running or, if we're not in a position to run, fight back.
Because you're on forest, you're in a really good position to outmove this thing.
All right.
But with that said, I think I'm going to give you a horsemanship test. And on a fumble, it doesn't go so well for you. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
I still succeed.
Right. So
Horseman's another 15.
You lead the retinue, and the retinue follows you as the troll looks angry and starts to move your way. But seeing as you all move quickly, it doesn't pursue for very long. Kind of gives up. You can tick prudent and loyalty lord.
All right. And yeah, we're gonna make our best time back to Eburacum.
All right. So we're gonna move to the southern retinue now with this forest. As much as I hate to do it again, I'm gonna give you as far as an awareness test, because I've given you like a million of these already, but I'm gonna give you another.
He's the one that keeps making them.
All right.
See?
Through the fog, the fog's just as thick down here as you wrap around the peninsula and hug the coastline, riding back towards Eburacum. there are, despite, you know, these little settlements here, there are a number of like little, you know, even smaller settlements in this, hamlets, things like that. As you pass back out of Dira Forest, like down here is kind of considered dangerous land, so commoners aren't really positioned there. But as you move back towards Mount Damon and such, it's not terribly hard to see that there's a lot of like land and estates down here, things like that, manors. You, for any less trained eye, you would simply see that the fog's a bit thicker here, but as Forrest's senses are better than that. And before you can see what is clearly a darker fog, you smell smoke.
Okay. Does this smell like buildings on fire, or does it smell like bodies on fire?
They are distinct smells, I suppose.
They are.
At this distance, the prior.
Okay, then. I'll point this out to the group and say, men, there seems to be trouble ahead. Everybody be prepared and have your eyes open.
Okay. So, as far as you start to near the famous battle site of Mount Damon, that is where you met with Merlin, and Merlin launched the counter assault back on, Uther's men, led by Merlin's fog, launched the counter assault on the Saxons to basically stop them from overrunning the north. That was 4 years ago now for you. As you see Mount Damon in the distance, you also notice that from across the bridge, the source of the smoke seems to be coming from Wintering House, one of the villages or settlements along the way.
Okay. Is there normally a checkpoint on this side of the bridge?
Typically, there would be someone stationed there on garrison, yeah.
Okay. Head to the station at first to see if anybody's there, and then check for bodies, or just like if we can gather what might have happened. If the station was attacked or not, or if people abandoned it, or if someone's still there.
Okay. As you near Wintering House, I'm gonna give you a battle test this time. The bridge is quite a significant bridge, and the fog is still thick. As you near the guardhouse, you can see that the small garrison would be there, like 1 or 2 men. They're both slain, like outside of it. Their spears lay nearby. Clearly, spear wounds. And I guess that failure for battle, what that represents is you can see and smell the Wintering House, clearly raided, clearly on fire. Probably a mixture of those two smells you mentioned before as you get closer. It's hard to tell whether there is any sort of continued presence in Wintering House.
Okay. These 2 guys are dead. Okay. Well, let's I gather all our guys up and say let's head out, so we need to check to see if there are any survivors, or if they're still raiding the place. We see who we can help.
Okay. So you start to ride through Wintering House with your retinue. And as you cross the bridge, you're immediately faced with, and fortunate for you, you are left in an opportunity of surprise as you come upon what looks like the remnants of a Saxon force that have very, very recently finished raiding this, but they're currently relaxing, like, you know, taking their rest after battle. So you're going to have an advantage here. For the purposes of this particular fight, and I'll make sure I roll up some basic sort of stats for your secondary PCs for next game. But for this one, Barunus, you can just roll Barunus' stats as if they're your brothers. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay. So you have 3 options here. Well, let's start with this force. You're in command. What do you want to do? What's your command to the unit?
To grab the lead and grab our advantage, take charge, and run them down.
Run them down. Okay. Noted. And with Barunus' brother in this forest is hold on, let me give Barunus' brother a name. Ivor, that's right. So with Ivor and his forest, are you targeting anything in particular here? Like, is there a specific... Actually, hold off on that. We're going to start with a command roll for his forest. Please test your battle again. Okay. So your commands are strong. They're decisive. They're precise, rather. Decisive. And the unit responds with loyalty. This is good for you guys. You now, both of you, get to choose how you're going to engage. You can engage 3 different ways. Because this is like it's not quite a battle, but it's a bigger scale skirmish. So your options are, you can go bold, which will put you against 2 enemies, and you get to tick valorous. You can go orderly, and you fight 1 enemy, and you tick nothing. Or you can go hesitantly, and you basically 2 versus 1 an enemy, but you have to check cowardly in that case.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm famously reckless, so...
Okay. Does that answer our question for you then? What about Ivor? What do you think for Ivor?
So, Ivor grew up hearing stories of East Forest and just kind of looking up to him as a little kid. He has always tried to emulate that, and the fact that Barunus has always been like a step or 2 or 10 ahead of him has made him far more reckless and judgmental because of it. So he's obviously going to take this opportunity to join East Forest in a charge.
All right. So that's you, because you do have the opportunity to charge them down. That will be a bonus. So before you roll anything against your opponents, I will give you your bonuses in full.
All right.
Let us get combat underway.
All right.
I need a D20 roll from both of you.
4.
Great. Sorry.
Still technically did better than me.
No, not necessarily. And then I need both of you to roll a second one. This is to determine your enemies. Who you shall face.
14.
3 and 5 for me.
4 and 14.
All right. So I'm just going to pull this over on my side here. There we go. Now we'll show it to everybody.
Yay.
Okay, so as far as what were your numbers one more time? I just can't see it.
4 and 14.
3 and 5.
3 and
5.
Oh,
sorry, he's 4.
3 and 5. So shield warriors. So you have a shield warrior, and you have an axe and spearman. It doesn't mean you have both. It means he is both. He has an axe and he has a spear. So we'll figure out what he's using right now. The shield warrior can also use 2 different weapons. And let's get Ivers done as well. You had what again for numbers? 4 and
14.
4 and 14. You have a spearman and a wealthy warrior. So the wealthy warrior is someone worthy of a ransom. You could take him ransom if you're successful, and
cool.
Or you could take him hostage and ransom him back. All right. So we're gonna start with the shield warrior and the axe spearman. So the shield warrior, I gotta do a D2 for both these guys. 1 and 1. Okay. So they're both using their first weapon. So the shield warrior is using a spear, and the axe spearman is using an axe. So to combat 2 of them is for us. You have to split your combat. Whatever your combat score is, you have to divide it amongst them. So this gets a little complicated, and I'll help you through it. Let's start with what is your weapon of choice here? Are you charging with a lance, with a spear?
I think he's charging in with his sword. Well, actually, it probably makes sense to use his lance more than anything in a charge. So yeah, he'd probably be using his lance.
Okay. So is he impassioned? Do you want to impassion him? Impassion will provide a potential bonus here to the combat.
It would be one of the 4 that we have, or hate Saxons, right?
What is your hate Saxons? How high is it?
15.
Okay, so it's not famous, so you don't have to automatically use it first. Do you have anything that's above 15?
Like under passions?
Yeah.
No, all my passions are 15.
Yeah, so you can choose anything appropriate to impassion yourself.
Okay. The only thing I can think of is hate Saxons because they raided a village and
that's fair.
Red-handed.
You can go ahead and test it. So the only way this works against you is if you fumble. Any other way, even if you fail, it doesn't cost you anything. Okay, you failed, but you didn't fumble, so that's important. Fumble would mean you go into a bit of melancholy from it. So you're without that, but you do have a mounted bonus. So what is your Himric spear, or what is your spear skill at?
Well, my spear is 10, but my lance is 15.
Oh, right, because you're not Kimric. Lance is 15. Got it. So with your lance at 15, you have 2 opponents you're trying to target. You could, if you don't try to compete against both, if they succeed, they hit. Period. Right?
Yeah.
Attack is kind of like Price is Right rules. It's whoever rolls higher and still succeeds. If you roll higher and fail, then obviously it doesn't count. So we need to look at splitting your attack amongst your 2 foes. Do you have any thought about how you might want to split between the axeman and the spearman, or the axeman and the you have axeman and the shield warrior?
What bonuses do I have from being on the horse? Or
because you're
like,
mounted, it's +5.
Okay, is that for each roll or like?
It will be for both rolls. Yeah.
Okay. I guess I'll go 10 for one and 5 for the 9 for one and 6 for the other.
9 for one. 6 for
So
the other.
yeah,
Okay.
9 for shield, 6 for axe. Actually, I'm gonna reverse that.
Okay.
9 for axe, 6 for shield. Cool.
Okay. So this is where it gets a little complicated. So you're going to click your lance for your first attack. And you've got the mounted bonus. I just want to see if there's a charging bonus. One sec. Don't think there's a bonus to the charge. It's just what charge will typically give you is it gives you extra, like you can use your horse for damage, so more significant damage. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna click your roll. Let's resolve the axe guy first. So you're gonna click your attack roll, and then you're gonna put in what, a minus. Sorry, your 6 and 9 is before your bonus, right? So it's your bonus will be 9 plus 5, so 14. And normally your lance is a 15, so you're just gonna put in a modifier -1, and you're going to roll that.
Do they get a negatives for being surprised, or is it do we get a bonus?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. Well, they're gonna get a -5 because you're mounted on their own roll. But I think you're surprised. I'm gonna net you an extra +2.
Okay, then that gives me a mod of +1.
All right. So go ahead and make your roll, and then I'll make the axeman's roll. All right. So you succeeded with 11. The axeman, 200 weapon. He has a weapon skill with a 200 weapon of 18. But he's losing a lot of that. So he's losing an 18 -5 -2. So he's going to have an 11 to roll. So he's going to roll 1d20 versus 11. So you both succeed, but you succeed higher. So his success is only called a partial success. If he had a shield, which he does not because he has a two-handed weapon, he would get to apply his shield and his armor. But he can't. He can just only apply his armor. So you get to do your horse damage as you charge him. Go ahead and give me your horse damage roll on your shield.
Oh,
What type of horse
I don't
do we
think I
have?
added it. Sorry.
Oh, okay, no worries. I can help you out. I forgot to go over that component. Sabrunius and his forest. There you go. Why don't you try it now, see if that works. Did that roll?
Yeah, I rolled a 17
Okay.
for damage.
Right, so with 17, how much armor does he have? He has an 8, so he's gonna absorb a bit of it. But 9 it certainly sticks him pretty good, like he's wounded. Now you're going to test against your other opponent, which is the spearman, or the shield warrior. So now with this guy, you have a 6, right? So 15 minus, you have a 6, but you get a +5 and a +2, so 13. So you're gonna have a modifier of a -2 on this guy.
Cool. I succeeded, but
All right, then we need big numbers.
So Spearman.
Big numbers, big numbers, big numbers.
10 minus 7. So he's only got a 3?
He could realistically crit me.
Oh no.
Oh.
Did I roll that right? I just want to make sure. Yeah. Ooh, he crits.
If you match crits, what happens?
If you match a crit, so it's about your weapon. So if you double crit at the same time, it's called a tie. Or if you double attack, like if you both hit the same number with any attack, it's a tie. And then ties have certain things. Most weapons break. A sword versus another weapon, the sword will always beat the other weapon. So that was mostly due to the fact that okay, let's see here. So this is a spearman.
Oof.
Sorry, I guess I remuted myself. I wanted to. If I tie, I still take damage, right?
Like if you both hit a 3, you mean here,
Yeah.
or
if I turn my success into a crit.
Oh, if you crit him with a higher crit score, that'll work in your favor. Does that make sense? So if you out crit him, then it's your crit is just you succeed, he doesn't, kind of thing.
Okay, then I will upgrade.
Okay, gonna use it right now. Got it. Okay, good call. I forgot I gave you that house rule. Shout out to Cam Banks, the designer of Cortex system. He's the one that house ruled that and told me about it years ago. So you're just gonna apply your horse damage to this guy as well, and then we're gonna double it. So 50 damage. He is dead. You run him right through. I think what would be interesting is his crit involves him holding onto your spear and prying it out of your hands. So he's dead. You killed him, but he took your weapon from you temporarily. And you're going to have to go to your secondary weapon now. Well, okay. Your sword. You might actually...
his primary weapon.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. But your spear is out of the picture for now.
Okay.
Let us move on to Ivor. So Ivor,
right.
You have a spearman and a wealthy warrior.
Yes, I do.
So spearman. You got the 4 for the spearman, right?
Yes.
We're going to determine weapons again.
All right.
2 and 2. So the wealthy warrior has... The wealthy warrior has... a great spear. And the spearman has a great spear. So that's not ideal, because great spears take away your mounted bonus. But I still will give you a +2 for the charge. So you have to split against these two guys, who both stand firm and try to break you coming crashing in towards them. They stand firm and try to brace against Ivor.
Can Ivor roll his honor for his passion?
Sure. It would be a 15, so just roll a d20. All right, he's impassioned.
That's all right. So, Barunas has a 17 in spear expertise. Is that what you want Ivor to roll? Or
I think Ivor will have a 15 in spear expertise.
All right. Because they both got great spears, Ivor is going to put 10 into the spearman, 5 into the
The wealthy warrior?
Yeah.
Okay. I will warn you before you do that the wealthy warrior is slightly better than the spearman. You just know that from... It's like... It'd be like fighting a knight versus a not knight, if that makes sense.
Well, what I'm trying... Well, what he's trying to do... I'm going to stick with where I've got it, but what he's trying to do is take out the lesser before he devotes all of his attention to the wealthy knight.
Got it. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that you're aware of that. I didn't want to catch you off guard. So with that in mind, spearman, I'm just going to see what your spearman's 4 and a 14. So 4 is spearman. Sometimes there's different, like multiple spearmen on here. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna get you to go ahead and do your rolls up. So you do still get you get to apply your passion to both of these rolls.
So 15.
15 for the spearman. Yep.
All right. That's 7, so that'll hit.
Okay. And why don't you roll another d20? This one is against a target of 10, right?
Yes.
5 plus 5. So, actually, I should clarify that. You had an additional +2, right? So your 10 to spearman would have been a 17, not a 15. Your roll against the wealthy will be against a 12, not a 10.
Okay.
It's your surprise round. Go ahead and give me. Okay. So you succeeded both. So at the worst case scenario, you get to apply your shield. Now we'll see what they do. Okay. So you succeed against the spearman. The wealthy warrior is gonna outdo you.
Yes.
So go ahead and give me your charging damage, which is your horse damage. I didn't add that for you. I'll add it right now. You can add it. You can just roll bonuses. There you go. So you can apply that. All right, 25 damage. Spearman has... Okay. 15. Still enough for a knockdown. Oh, I did that wrong. Yeah, so he is knocked down. And he's wounded, but he's still remaining. Now the wealthy warrior does get to hit Ivor.
Okay.
And he's going to do great spear damage. So he does 21 damage, but minus your shield and your armor.
What type of armor are we wearing?
You are wearing chainmail armor. Armor is 10. And your shield adds a +6 because you succeeded at the roll. So you only take 5 damage.
Chainmail is 10. Shield is 6, so I only take 5?
Yeah, correct.
Alright.
Alright, top of the next round.
Alright, cool.
Alright. Let's go ahead and resolve this round. We're gonna go back to, so that is the end of that round. You have a pretty good exchange. Do you want to stay in a duel against the opponents you're facing? Or do you want to continue to ride through?
I'll keep going against the guy I'm facing.
Yeah, you're gonna turn and face him. You eliminated one, so you're down to one guy. And you got the... Is it just the... just to track this, who did you destroy? That was the Axeman, right?
It was a shield. The shield guy.
Oh, the shield warrior you killed?
Yes.
The Axeman. Axeman versus Forest. And then technically it's still 2 on Ivor, right? Ivor versus Wealthy Warrior and Spearman.
Spearman was knocked down. Wealthy Warrior clipped me good.
Okay. So we're gonna go to Forest versus the Axeman.
Cool.
You are. Sorry, go ahead.
Do I still get the mounted bonus towards him?
You get the mounted. You do not get the charge, or the surprise. I mean, anymore. And you're using your sword this time.
Okay, cool. Then I go at him.
All right, go ahead and give me a roll, good sir.
Is that a crit?
No.
No.
Oh.
It shouldn't be. It's just really high.
And he is without, he's at a -5 penalty trying to fight you. Okay, so he succeeds but does not crit, so you beat him. So all that means is if he had a shield, which he does not, he could apply it. He can't, so you get to do damage to him. And he took wounds last time, so he's already hurt.
Who's yelling out in the back? It's so just my damage?
Correct. You do your standard, you damage this thing, not your horse.
Cool. I was just wondering because my horse and I have the same thing.
Fair enough.
You're as strong as a horse.
14 damage. That was a bad roll.
Twos and ones.
Right, 14 damage. By an Axeman who has... So he took 6 damage. I'm just looking to see what he took before the first time. It was 17 damage.
Yeah, should have been 17 the first time.
Yep.
So he took 9 the first time, and then he took, after armor, and 6 this time. He was at 15 damage. So he's still standing, but he's staggering now. You hurt him pretty good. With that, we're going to go over to Ivor, who's now in a stickier situation. Ivor, were you planning to continue the duel versus these two?
No, he was going to charge through, turn around, and then try to trample the guy who fell over while attacking the guy still standing.
Okay. So to do that sort of thing, you're going, what your options are is you can certainly do that, but it would take you a round to ride out of charging damage, or like out of a charging area from them. Are you willing to do that? Like you will lose a battle round. It's up to you.
Or is the type that he would actually do that?
Okay. All right, so we'll go back to the next round and start with this Forest again. You versus the Axeman. You can go ahead and contest your sword one more time.
It's the lowest I could go.
He misses, so you hit.
Wow.
Yeah, he got a 14 versus a 13. So, go ahead and give me your damage. Ooh. So 29 total. You finished off the axeman. Do you want to describe how you finish him off?
I guess it's sort of like a back and forth. I have to ride to get around this guy, and then I hit him. I clipped him once in like the shoulder, then again around the chest, but then the last swing it doesn't behead him, but it hits him hard enough in the head that it slashes through and he's down.
Okay. Perfect. Now we're at Ivor versus these two. Ivor, how do you want to split against these two? You notice that the spearman spent the time while you were like rounding for a charge. He's climbed back to his feet. So both are standing against you, but you can enact your charge.
Yeah, he's gonna charge again, and he's going to he'll put 7 into the spearman and 8 into the wealthy knight.
Okay. Just remember to add the +5 to each, and then you can make your rolls.
All right, so 7 and 5 is 12. No bonuses for charging, no bonuses for sneak attack.
Yeah, nothing of that sort. You got it.
Oh, he succeeds.
And that was against, what was the total? Just so I know your crit range.
10 versus 12.
Okay. So close. and then,
Yeah.
Why don't you go ahead and attack the wealthy warrior too?
All right, that's going to be versus 13.
Oh, miss
And I
on
missed.
him. Okay. So the spearman fumbles. So that's interesting. So as you start to charge him down, he panics and he turns. Go ahead and give me your horse damage, and we're going to give you critical on that. Basically, with 30 damage.
30.
So you run down the spearman. He is dead. The wealthy warrior, he does succeed though.
Yes.
So we're gonna see what he does for Ivor here. I will note that you have not used your one roll. I don't know if you want to use it on Ivor though.
No.
Okay. So 21 minus 16, or nope, minus 10 this time. So he takes 11 more damage.
11.
Yeah. So probably pretty hurt at this point.
Yeah.
Okay.
He just took 11 damage. When does he get knocked off his horse?
11 damage is probably not enough to trigger a knockdown because you didn't take it all at once. If you took it all at once, it would count as a knockdown.
No, he did take it all at once. That was one hit that did 11 damage.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying that 11's probably not enough. Like to.
Okay.
Yeah. Like his con is probably higher. Or wait, what is it? Size? I'm trying to see one
His
second.
size is 12.
Size.
Yeah. His size is going to be 12. So 11's not going to trigger it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And we'll give you. What are you going to do the same thing one more time against this last opponent, the wealthy warrior?
Yeah. He's the type that would spend every round just trying to get in position to charge.
Okay. Go ahead and give me the attack roll, and this time you don't have to split.
This time my it's a D20 versus 20.
Oh, right, because you're impassioned. Nice.
Yeah.
You cannot fail.
So 19.
And he fails. So you get to do your full damage, your horse damage to him. Ooh, that hurts. Wealthy warrior. Just gonna see here. Nice time. Yeah, so he's standing. He looks still hurt. Ivor, are you going to call for him to surrender? Let's see how your unit's doing, actually. Your unit has been, like, they're going to overrun the enemy. It's just a matter of time. Do you wanna spend your time trying to get him to yield, or do you want to go around for another charge?
Ivor is desperate for this yield.
Okay.
Just to prove he's better than his brother. So he's gonna like lower his spear, point it at the guy, and go, surrender now, Saxon pig, and maybe I'll let you live.
Okay, I'm just gonna see. I'm gonna test something. All right, he surrenders. He failed his valorous test, so he grunts and he looks at the change in battlefield and he says, "Fine." With that, he throws his spear to the side and drops to a knee.
Ah. Let's see my brother do that.
All right, very good. So that will net your house some Librum as well. We'll get to that. Glory, real quick, we'll count the glory. So the axe and spearman was worth 15 glory. The shield warrior is worth 10 glory. The other spearman was worth 10 glory. And this wealthy warrior, because you're taking him hostage, you're taking the Librum, not the glory. So,
okay.
Yeah. All right.
And that's for Ivor, not Barunus.
Correct. The glory is for
Awesome.
Barunus, the Librum's for the house. So.
Okay.
Yep.
You mean not Ivor?
No, so the Librum is for your house.
The whole house.
Yeah.
The glory is for Barunus, not Ivor?
No, the glory is for Ivor, not Barunus.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay, so we're going to change scenes here. I want to know what exactly Barunus did when he came back to the sorry. I want to know what Barunus did when he came back to the capital. When he came back to Eburacum.
He rides hard for the king.
Okay.
Dismounts like in a hurry.
Okay.
And he's reporting in that we have Saxon ships sailing to the north.
I think he would look to you. Heraut is a pretty stalwart leader, though far from, I'd say, the glory that his father had.
He's got his own glory. He killed a worm.
Exactly. Him and his contingent did. 100%.
I mean, I was there, so.
He's prideful, too. He's a very prideful man. You watched him last year turn away a retinue from King Uther down south.
Well, maybe he should have come himself instead of sitting there and sending knight.
Indeed.
Sort of victory knights my ass.
Okay. With that in mind, and when you say that Saxons are arriving, he says, "Are you certain they're new armies, new banners?"
There are banners I'm not familiar with.
Do we know where they're headed?
I've got scouts tracking them as we speak, heading north.
Very good. We will
These
continue to
forests-
monitor.
Yes, sir.
What was the last piece you were gonna add?
Just East Forest is covering our route back, checking in on villages on the way back, just in case somebody got a wild itch to try something.
Perfect. He seems impressed with that. You can take 20 glory for presenting before King Heraut and prioritizing that.
All right.
For this one's for Brunus, obviously. So I'm gonna do a quick pause and bathroom break. I'm wondering how you folks would feel about advancing time forward a bit to say a winter feast.
I don't think that'd be too bad.
I'm fine with it.
Okay, cool. Why don't we just take a quick couple minute break and then we'll start the feast.
All right.
Hey guys, just pouring myself a quick coffee and then I'm good to go. One sec. Okay. How do we feel about getting started again? Everyone good? I might still be muted.
And I'm back.
Perfect.
I never left.
Oh my goodness, he never left?
I was here the whole time.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. Thanks for that. I didn't get a chance to eat dinner beforehand, so I just mowed down some food. Okay, let's dive in. Back to feast time. So I'm gonna correct something.
All right.
This is not winter. This is Easter court right now.
Okay.
All right, and we should just be able to drag and drop. There we go. So with that, we're gonna get the two of you. Oh, sorry, I did it for you already, so you're good. Why don't you go ahead and give me an appearance roll to see where you're seated in the feast. Brunus is near the salt. Ooh, Esphorus, we need you to make another appearance test. I moved, I split you in the wrong area, my bad. There we go. Okay, you succeeded that one. All that means is that you go down one level. So rather than being on the floor, you're just below the salt. And I'll explain what that means in a second. You guys see each other's names on these tokens?
Yep.
Okay. And then I'm going to save these back to your sheets so that we don't have to do this a million times. Use token. I'm going to do the same for Brunus now. You select a token, save. Okay, so both Brunus and Esphorus, now when you drag and drop, you'll get the token with your name on it listed.
Ah, okay.
Alright. Okay, so let me describe the rounds of a feast. It's actually quite a cool little mechanic. Like, they made it fun. Because that was always one of my bigger barriers to, like, how do I really do feasts? They, you know, the way the structure of Pendragon is most of the game takes place between Easter feast and Christmas feast. And the Great Pendragon campaign has events that happen in those areas. And then there's usually either like a battle or a quest or some kind of event in between. But, you know, feast can be rather overwhelming because it's like, well, what do I do? There's a million NPCs here. You know, what do I choose to do? What Pendragon does is it gives you almost like a combat system for feast, but not very hard to figure out. So I'll explain what that is. Basically, every round, you get to choose what you're going to do in the feast. Your placement is according to where you're positioned, according to the salt. So, those who are like honored guests or the hosts or etc. is above the salt. That requires a critical. If it's not your wedding or your feast, it requires a critical or a special storyline circumstance for you to be above the salt.
Okay.
Near the salt is ideally where most guests would want to be seated. The reason why is because there's geniality, which gives you a temporary in-feast bonus, but also gives you an after-feast glory bonus. So there's something significant to be said about where you're seated. Below the salt means you're further away from the salt. You're kind of the last to be served, other than the squires and you know, the servants and the handmaids. And you have seats. They're just inoptimal. On the floor is, and so we almost got to see as Forrest roll it. It's when you fail your appearance and then, or you fumble your appearance and then you fail your appearance a second time. It's sort of like a fumble confirmation, I guess. It would be like if it were D&D, that'd be what it would be called. So if you don't confirm your fumble, you just go down one level. But if you confirm your fumble, then you end up on the floor. On the floor is where like the squires and the commoners and, you know, if there's are animals, that's where they are. So it's kind of a bit of a disgrace. Being near the salt will net you 1 geniality around by default, and then you can choose to do things that can warrant you more geniality. Below the salt warrants you 0 geniality around, but you still might end up in events where you're still getting geniality. So what can you do per feast round? Just think like what a feast is about. You can specifically, you can I'm trying to get the words right here. You can gossip. So gossip is a intrigue test, and it will net you additional information. You can also use it to do, like, let's say you want to slander someone, you can do that sort of thing. But you can intrigue to get more information than you're given right now. You can, so that's one action. You can flirt. So let's say you don't have a wife yet, and you're looking to have a wife, or you're looking for a good time for the night. Those are options. You can trigger a flirt action. You can feast, which is either you're indulging yourself, or you're the opposite. You're so, rather than indulging, you're being that person at the party. It's like, do you want another drink? I'll get you another drink. Do you want some food? Here, try this. That's called both of those are called indulge, but I prefer to call it just feast. You know, a feast action? Do you want to indulge or be temperate? So this is ultimately a game about, you know, King Arthur and Knights of the Round Table, Arthuriana stuff. So that's why that mechanic exists. Finally, you can game. So let's say none of that appeals to you. You're not particularly fond of the whole concept of the social niceties. You can choose to game. And then lastly, the mechanic that everyone loves, you can pull a feast card if you're a knight, if you have enough glory, which you both do. So this is an example of one. So it's kind of like I want a random encounter, right? In the feast. You pull a feast card. This one says, host calls for a toast. The host rises and calls for a toast. Now you're going to test your courtesy. All players have to do this. And then you can get geniality based on that. So it's kind of like creating a random event. So cards tend to be, obviously, unless someone has a very specific agenda, cards tend to be just so fun that people tend to focus on them more than anything. But we're going to start with Barunis, who's the highest in the near the salt. And before,
what is genealogy or geniality?
Thank you for asking. Geniality turns into glory. So every 1 geniality at the end of a feast turns into 10 glory.
Okay.
On top of that, geniality for any courtly actions, once you've collected the geniality, it applies as a temporary bonus during the feast to that. So let's say you have to give a speech and you're tested, one of the cards asks you to roll orate. I could go, yeah, you have 3 geniality. Why don't you apply that to you have to ask me, right? But if it applies, I'll typically say yes unless it's something non-feastly, right? Like I want to punch someone in the face. Well, you don't get geniality for that.
Okay.
I hope that's descriptive enough. So it has both an in the feast mechanic and an out of the feast mechanic.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
So why don't you both, to begin the feast, I'm going to get you to test me intrigue, just for general gossip that you might be aware of.
I did not hear anything.
Okay,
I didn't hear nothing at all.
Your roll it took a while to come in. Law. Forgot you had that. Well written too. I like the way you put that. So excellent. For Esforus, you know that the gossip is, you kind of hear them talking. It sounds like those Saxon ships were confirmed to have sailed to Dira, which is the close place. That's like almost the area you were scouting. So it seems they've landed there, which is really worrisome for immediate raids in the coming year. Like as it starts to near the warm months, you're starting to worry. There's a general worry, a general buzz that Malahaut will be under raids this year. Like significant, not a few raids here and there. And with what you saw down in Winterhouse, certainly seems like something's brewing. With that, we're going to jump into Barunis's action in Near the Salt. It's a 3-round feast.
All right. You know what? I think since I really have nothing I'm doing, I will draw a card.
All right. That is not a
lady and you.
I'll stretch it out for you here. There you go.
Important lady spends time conversing with you.
Okay. So, I think clearly, you're the one to deliver the news back. You're sitting near the salt. I think you have the attention of Heraut's eldest sister, Lady Ines.
Ines de Aprés. Huh.
So she comes by and basically is like, Sir Brunus, I hear that you're responsible for notifying my brother of the threat, the Saxon threat.
Yes. I mean, I was just following orders. However, if you want a true hero, let me point you to, my good friend Esforus, who boiled that raid into and there's a bunch of and um
That's fair.
you know,
Uh,
he's trying to pass her off to Asforus or even Ivor. You know,
yeah.
Ivor also captured an important Saxon and ransomed him off. I mean, my own brother did that under the command of Ace Forest. I mean, I believe they'd be better suited to get garner your attention than someone who was simply following orders.
Got it. I think with what Ines is going to do here, so she says you, sir, are too modest when you mention that, you know, you're not a true hero in this. But I imagine mechanically you're aiming to discard the card. Is that correct? Or
Yeah.
Do you need my help navigating it at all?
I was gonna keep it for like a round or see if I could pass it off to Ace Forest. But I'm really steering her towards him.
Okay. The card doesn't technically have a mechanic where you could do that, but you could still do like an intrigue action next round. So if you held the card for a round, you could bring her to him and do that sort of thing. And then it would be more like an intrigue action. You want to do that?
That is exactly what I want to do.
Okay. And I think it would be more interesting, rather than it being his sister and being Lady Ines, I'm going to say it's not Lady Ines. I'm going to say it's one of his nieces, who's like 19. Is that fair? Because Ines is not young. I think it would be interesting to have someone who's more at a maiden's age for your somewhat young.
You mean Ines is not young or available for wooing?
She's a complicated one, so I think there's a better, without spoiling too much, there's a better option. So, one sec. I'm gonna give this person a name. Her name is Lucina, Lady Lucina.
Lady Lucina. Look at that. I'm already looking out for my bro.
Niece of King Heraut. Okay. Perfect. So that is the end of your action, good sir, for the round. We're going to go to Asforus. What would you like to do?
The only game that he plays is arm wrestling, so he'll probably draw a card for this first one.
Okay. It's funny because it's one of the cards. Let's see if you pull it. There's an arm wrestling card. Oh, that's interesting.
Oh.
I love it. So King Heraut rises and starts to drone on about the current political environment. Makes a lot of sense given what's going on.
So I roll both of them?
Yes, you can test them. Interesting. So neither really succeed, right?
I failed to succeed more on lazy.
Yeah, but that doesn't count. If you for lazy to win, you actually have to roll under it. So, I think my suggestion would be, you know that some of it's important, but when he starts talking about, you know, Logris and their lack of attention and Uther, you're just maybe, as far as if I recall, spent time actually fighting in Logris, right?
Yes.
So as far as probably has like a different opinion than your average Eburacum knight about the fight down south. Does that sound pretty accurate?
Yeah.
So when it gets into like the finger pointing politics, maybe you just aren't as interested, but not so much that you get a lazy tick.
Okay. Cool. Cool. He's listening, but not 100%.
Yeah. Okay. We're gonna shift it.
All right.
We're gonna shift into round 2. Back to Barunis.
All right. So this is round 2. I have 2 geniality.
Correct.
Cool. So what I'd like to do is I would like to introduce Lady Lucina to Esphorus.
Okay.
She is obviously a lovely young woman, and I believe my good friend here could use some... What's the best way to put it? Could use a woman's touch around him, considering he is rather uncouth sometimes.
That didn't work. Sounds good.
All right. So,
well, why don't you approach this with your action? I'll let you kind of do this in character, like the two of you interact, and I will play Lucina.
Esphorus, how's this feast treating you today?
Food's good. Talk's okay.
Well, allow me to make this introduction. This is Lady Lucina. She is King Heraut's niece. Lady Lucina, may I introduce you to the hero of... All right. Of, you know, the... What's the name of that city?
Winterhome? Is that what you're talking about? Like
Winter...
what you...
Yes.
Yeah.
The hero of Winterhome. The leader of the men who fought back the Saxon hordes and rescued our people.
Okay, this is where I will get first off, before I give any action, Barunis, why don't you give me an intrigue roll and you can apply your geniality to that.
All right.
As far as, do you have any action before?
Oh, that's a pure fumble.
No. Ooh. You know what I think she's gonna do? I think there. What is this Forrest doing? What's his reaction? Before I give some kind of action.
He's not quite picking up what's happening, or what Barunis is trying to put down. And so, like, and Esphorus is used to, like, people flocking towards Barunis. So he thinks this is just another one of those things. And so he's like, yeah, hero stuff. But, you know, Barunis' family were able to capture and ransom back someone. So they're doing fairly well for themselves. Protecting people is just what a knight's duty. It's nothing to brag about.
Do you think does Barunis kind of do that and then carry on, like start mingling with someone else nearby, or does he stay to the conversation?
He after making the introductions, he made a hasty retreat.
Yeah, I think she picks up on that, and she's like, "It seems your friend." She goes to turn around as as first counters Barunis, and Barunis is already gone. And like her eyebrow twitches a bit, and she says, "It seems your brave sir friend simply intended to play matchmaker. My apologies, good sir."
Oh, it's well, to be honest, it's probably better than other things, because to be honest, he has plenty of people flocking after him. Plenty of them happen to be young ladies like yourself. So I'm just glad it was a bit more subtle than normal, because usually there's a lot of crying and yelling and dramatics. So, but I hope the feast treats you well.
You as well, good sir, she says hospitably, but visibly annoyed. Awesome. I love it.
Wow.
So good. All right.
Though his younger brother is doing fairly well. It's Ivor? I4. And would that be intrigue to try to direct her his way?
You could follow up his action. Like, it would cost you your round, but you're more than welcome to do that. Like, because you're next in the turn slot anyways. Do you want to position? Yeah, it would be intrigue. Do you want to try to do that?
Yes, because he did pretty well in the fight. He got banged up, but he did pretty well, and he did capture somebody. And I think having this mixture of this lady being disappointed with his older brother and using that to further him might help him out.
Got it.
Improve some confidence.
All right, yeah, that would certainly be intrigue. So just a rule for impassioning yourself in a feast: you can do it. Typically, things like hospitality or honor. Sometimes the loyalty makes sense, right? Those, or I hate Saxons if people are ranting about something. You know, it depends. You can impassion yourself, but only lasts for the one round of the feast. So once that round's over, you have that passion's gone, and you have to impassion yourself with a different passion.
Okay. For now, I'll leave it as is.
Okay.
I probably should have impassioned, but
right. And you netted 0 geniality last round, right?
yes.
Yeah. Oof. I think she like considers it, like it's really close, but she just says she's like still a bit embarrassed by the situation. She says, "I'll keep that in mind, good sir."
I'm gonna pay for that later.
She says, "I think my uncle's calling me," which he's clearly not. He's still droning on about the politics.
Miss Forrest will just let her go.
Okay. Perfect. I think it'd be interesting if you two want to interact with one another, because you haven't really had a good chance to talk since before we move into round 3, since you split up, right? Like technically you guys weren't even on the same like mission together. You both did 2 different things. So what? Now that you're this close to one another and she departs, maybe in the next minutes to come you run across each other.
Did because it was only him and 4 other dudes. Did they spread the news about the troll they ran into, or was that like buried because they rushed straight back?
Oh crap! I forgot about that.
Do you think Burnus would have forgot about it?
Brutus would not have. He would have reported into the king, told him about the giant, grabbed more people or just more weapons, and tracked that thing down to kill it.
Okay.
But the player forgot about it. So
we'll say that it's certainly taken the backseat to the threat of the Saxons. We'll say that.
Yeah.
So I would say not really as far as there's been some rumors of a troll recently traipsing about though.
I wheel back up and around once she's gone. Dude, I'm trying to hook you up with the king's niece and you drive her off like?
Well, you drove her towards me. She was free to go where she pleased.
Fair enough.
I don't feel like it's very... she does not capture my attention like the person I hope to marry would.
Fair enough. You would know more of these things than I do. So.
Oh, have you been able to practice against your brother in jousting or in horsemanship? He's been getting better.
Oh, has he?
Yes.
Oh, that's good. No, I haven't. I haven't taken the chance to train with him recently.
Well, you should. I'm sure he'd appreciate it. He was able to take two people at once and capture one of them, keeping them alive, which was,
Nice.
I guess, a little better than myself, but I normally just go through whoever I see in front of me.
I don't know. Ivor's always had more of his eye on you than me.
Well,
I know his swords. I know he favors the sword like you do.
maybe. Maybe then I'll practice with him when I have time.
I know he would appreciate that a lot more than me looking after him.
If you say so. And you seem to be pretty well seated. How's the food over there? Is it much different than the food over here?
Honestly, the company sucks. The company is not to my liking. I would much rather sit down here with you.
Well, it's not anything out of the ordinary or exceptional. It's just I imagine it's hard for them to find a place for me to sit.
I mean, if they can find a place for me, obviously they should be able to find a place for you.
Do you think the Saxons are getting for a larger raid with the ships that came up north? Because they were from it was Western Germanic Saxons, right? Or was it Eastern?
I don't know. I mean, I didn't even recognize the heraldry on those.
No, I know my character did. Out of character, I know I did.
Yeah.
I just can't remember if it was Western or.
What you know is you know that these are not any of the major banners that have landed already. So there are like I'll just show you here. There are 4 contingents of Saxons in England right now. I'm just going to show you this. Correction 5. There is, so you all are here in Malahaut.
Yep.
In Nohut, there is King Octa. In Dira, which is where you were, there is the Saxon King Eosa, and they are cousins to 2 famous brothers, Hirsa and Horsa, I think. Definitely Horsa. I forget the other one's name. There's the East Saxons, which are the newest group. They're down here. Then there's the 2 oldest groups, which are in Kent and Sussex. So there are 5 contingents, and you're confident that this new Germanic banner flying, it flew at a great mass, which means that it's something of significance, and you saw it on lots of the ships that were sailing. It is likely a brand new group, but you're not sure where exactly they would be in Saxon. You just know it's not any of the existing settlers, which means a net new army threatens to land here. And every time that happens, the island gets a little bit smaller for the Cimbric and for the Romans.
This is not good.
No.
There could be small hope of them skirmishing amongst themselves before they try to move on.
I doubt it.
Okay.
I have ideas on how we can fight off this horde, but I don't It doesn't look good.
Isfus takes another bite of food. Isforus.
Let's move into round 3 then. We're going to start with Brunus in your action.
All right. Honestly, I'm just gonna draw another card.
All right.
Introduction. A famous knight from outside the area asks if you would introduce him to some guests. I can introduce him around.
All right. I'm just going to check.
Obviously, the first person he gets introduced to is Sir Isforus. But then I go ahead and I start introducing him to some of the other good hardy knights. A majority of the knights I introduce him to, though, are kind of below the salt. You know, hard workers that aren't necessarily famous.
Gotcha.
And I'm introducing them to people like, hey, this is Sir Winry. Don't mind him. He stares at people weirdly, but he's actually really good at like that Arabic game on the Square of Squares. He's really good at it. Taught me more than I care to admit on battlefield tactics and everything like that.
Understood. It's a fairly decent approach. I'm just going to confirm who this is.
I mean, I don't recognize him, but I'm friendly enough. I'll show him around.
Sure. Did you test to see if you recognize him?
Not yet.
Let's find out.
All right. Nope, don't recognize him. I need these rolls when I'm playing like Starfinder or something.
Right? Yeah, 100%. You didn't fumble though.
No. Damn close.
But it doesn't. It's still so. The beauty is you still get the geniality for the round, right? You just don't get the +1 geniality on top of it. So the success is like an extra bonus here, and the critical is like a super bonus. But the card is 1 means the card is worth a geniality just being pulled.
So, third round, 3 geniality, +1 for the card?
Yes, actually. Because you're near the salt.
Despite the fact that I immediately got up and started walking around talking to people.
And the people you introduced to, even though it's not as, impressive as it might have been if it stood out and you knew everybody by name. You're like, oh, where is that guy? You're looking for some of the key people, and he ends up standing around a bit more than you'd want. His name is Sir Malahaut the Brown.
Malahaut the Brown.
Yeah. He is a famous knight, so his glory is like 8,000.
How do you get the title of the Brown?
You ask him that?
I mean, actually, yes, I do.
Okay.
Like, how do you get the title of the Brown?
My family comes from Castle Brune. It's a nickname, a play on words. I suppose it's... And as you kind of say it, you notice that he is wearing a lot of simple colors. Like, he's not a lavish knight, especially in Eburacum. It stands out, like, with all the Roman... Romans put a lot of effort into their appearance and appeal. He Definitely looks like a modest knight.
I'm not too well dressed either.
It's true. Well enough to be near the soldier, good sir.
That's just because I look good.
All right.
That's just my mother and father's gifts. Nothing I did.
All right, so you got that action, and then Esphras, your go. What would you like to do this time through?
So I'll draw this one.
Game of dice.
Huh.
Can I just opt out again?
Typically when the card's pulled, there isn't an opt-out. I'd say you could try to pull out of it for a different risk. Do you want to do that?
What would that be? Or is it just I'll know if I choose the
A losing a face with some of your peers.
You mean you didn't take any gaming?
I have the basics of gaming. I did not
Yeah.
take gaming. I was more prone on fighting people with the sword.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's fine with it. Like he's used to being a background person. So yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm fine. Like I prefer to watch rather than play.
Okay.
Actually, that'd be okay. Yeah, he's okay. I play. I play.
You're gonna play? All right.
Yeah, I play.
I like that you're testing that. I appreciate you doing that. Now you have no geniality. Is this something are you passionate about anything here going into this? Do you want to impassion yourself or just roll it straight?
I'll try to. My honor's in question here because I tried to back out of the game. So.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Oh. Oh, so close. I think that's what it is. Like the game comes down to the very last like moment, and you're certain you have it. You're certain you have it. All you need is like a 3 on 2 dice to win, and then you watch those snake eyes come up.
Oh, I only
So
lost
close.
one. I only lost one.
Yeah. There you go. So pretty minor and all. And denarii are not much in the way of costs. It's like a silver penny, basically. So. All right. So as the Easter feast comes to a close, King Heraut stands one last time. He calls out, "My loyalist of knights." And you know, he refers to you as his century. His 100 knights. It grants him the title he stands so confidently with, something his ancestors have used from time to time. In truth, there are about 400 knights in all of Malahaut, but those he considers his loyalists, those who join him wherever he might be, those are his century knights. I know that this year has been, well, things did not start as well as we might wish them to. But I assure you that with our resolve and our courage, we will stand fast against the Saxons. This city will not fall. I would like to invite each of you, should you wish, If your home is not within these walls, and you worry over the raids, I invite you, my Century Knights, to come here with your families and take refuge. I leave the choice to you. For now, we will continue to scout the Saxon shores and look out for any threat that we might find. If we see signs of movement, we will respond with force. But no army has mustered against us thus far, and this I doubt we will see any sort of real action this year. To the city of Eburacum in the kingdom of Malahaut, may our reign and glory last for many more years. And a lot of the guests raise their glass in turn. A lot of the knights are ready for skirmishes. You can see like the bloodlust in their eyes. And with that, we're going to move to another scene. I want to know through the summer what kind of activity the two of you might have been up to. You wouldn't have had to be together per se.
Honestly, during the summer, Sir Baronius would have hunted down that troll. Because while the Saxons are a threat, we'll know when they come. That troll is a clear and present threat as it is right now.
All right, troll hunting. Is this something that you would be interested in as well as far as?
Yes, if there's a very clear large creature that we can go hunt, he'd be happier if it was a worm,
A dragon?
but, yeah.
Or a worm?
Yeah, I guess
But,
you've
yeah.
been through that together, have you not? That makes sense.
But he will definitely go.
I realized I had the name as Barunius, not Barunius this whole time. Oops. Okay. I need to know what kind of force the two of you are bringing with you.
What type of force do we have access to?
You have about 7 knights between the two of your houses that you could muster. Anything else you would have to petition for forces from the king.
All right. We have 7 knights.
His force will essentially spread word. Since I actually stay in the city, I'll be like, hey, who wants to go on which of the knights that are free would like to go on a troll hunt?
Right, so you're going to kind of use leverage to outside of your house to other knights in the city. Is that the idea?
Yes. Essentially, we're definitely going to. Well, he's definitely taking the people from his house that would like to go,
Yeah.
but he's seeing if other knights want to get in on the hunt, because it's not it's still a troll, so it's still a creature to slay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Between the 7 we can muster, I'll talk to King Heraut and see if he wants to join along, or if he wants to send a few others in his stead. What he wants to do.
Okay, I'm going to give Barunius an intrigue roll and Esphorus a battle roll.
Okay.
You can choose courtesy instead of intrigue if that's better.
Uh, uh,
Yeah.
it's a little better. I have no reason to like passion this. Woo! I need that roll. I need that roll.
Oh.
Oh, once more.
You find yourself sidelined as you try to get to the king. It seems he's got a lot of pressing business, and you find yourself stuck for like almost a week of trying to reach him. Something niece.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right.
Make sure you tick you got the 40 glory for your 4.
Yes, I have added that.
Okay. As far as you managed to muster together like a full force, so you'd have about 15 knights all in all that'd be willing to go out after the troll.
Okay. I don't think that's a sizable force.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. So how did it go with the king?
Looks like I've got an appointment with him here in about a week. Maybe 2.
Okay.
So let's make this let's make that appointment. Here's the head of a troll. We found it scouring your lands and we have killed it. Sound like a plan?
I'm sure that the people going with this would appreciate being able to at least fight it. Hopefully we can track it. So
we'll see what we can do.
Okay.
Well, whenever they're ready to go, his force is ready to go.
Okay, so I'm going to start with hunting rolls from both of you.
Okay. Because this thing is basically endangering Malahaut, I want to test my passion to see it because he's putting in danger the kingdom I've sworn to protect.
Okay. Yeah, I'll support that.
Ooh, crit.
So that is a... Hold on, let me see what a crit does. At a 15, it still does, I think... I gotta drag all these cards out of the way. 15... Crit still, unfortunately, it's only a +5, but your honor immediately goes up to 16.
Okay, so now I'm known for being honorable.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right, hunting roll.
+5.
I succeed.
Oh! All right.
Did you crit?
Yeah.
Yes. I crit my hunting.
All right. So make sure you tick your hunting.
Mm-hmm.
So with this score, not only are you guys going to track down the troll, you're going to have your full retinue with you, which means the troll by itself is not going to exactly stand a lot of... Like, I could make it a scene, but I wonder if it'd be worth it with you guys having a full retinue with you. You know what I mean? I think the thing is going down. I think it'd be more interesting to... I think are the two of you going in valorously at it? Like, are you leading the retinue?
Yeah.
Is that?
I am at the front, charging this thing, spear in hand.
All right.
Definitely charging it.
Okay. So we're gonna start with your guys' initial charge, and then we'll see. It's gonna split against the two of you, and then it's gonna be like everyone's gonna overwhelm it from there. So the real threat is the two of you being at that beginning phase, right, where you're ahead of your retinue charging the thing, right? The others are coming in with spears to try and impale it from all sides as you charge it.
Okay.
So, please give me your attack rolls, and you can go ahead and impassion yourself if you'd like.
Yeah, I'll impassion myself.
Alright, so both of you are impassioned. Please give me your attack rolls.
All right. So close.
Alright. Just checking to see what it has here. It's a tie against this for us.
Yep.
All right. Baronius, you're going to get your attack off. The good news is neither critical. That's where you really got to worry. Okay, so you
24.
deal 24. You can feel its thick hide. For Esphorus, your lance your spear shatters against it, against its like giant club, which is effectively almost like a tree trunk, right? But you notice that it does kind of, as your lance shatters, it sort of splinters off, and some of the splinter sticks into his hand. And it not being very intelligent, it's like, ugh, and it drops, it reacts with a wince, and it drops the club out of its hand.
Cool.
All right. Let's move into the next round, and then I think your retinue is going to run it down, but it's going to pick up a rock, like a big rock, and try to hurl it at one of you. Let's see which two.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with 3 targets. It's gonna be one of you two, or it's gonna be like at the herd of your followers that are coming your way. So 1 will be Esphorus, 2 will be Brunius, and 3 will be the rest of them. All right. So you're gonna get free attacks on this thing this round.
So Brunius would stay in the fray to give Esporus a chance to draw his sword.
Okay.
So while he's throwing that rock, Brunius is just gonna hammer into him.
Okay. Go ahead and give me your attack roll, good sir.
Passions last for the entire scene, right?
In this case, yes, they do, because it's like a
Okay.
normal skirmish, not a battle. A battle, you would have to roll a new one, because a battle is like 1 round equals an hour kind of thing.
Okay. That's fair.
All right, and because he's not contested, you can just do your damage. Okay.
18.
And a sword from Esferus. $24 damage. Oof. Oof. All right. So I'm gonna test one more thing again.
We're not knocking him down because he's huge boy.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed. But you have done a considerable damage to him. And there are a whole bunch of more spears going into him right now. I want to see who just got smushed by a rock, though. Let me just make sure he doesn't fumble. He doesn't fumble. But he's bowling it like a bowling ball, so it's going to hit somebody. And you guys had 13 more knights with you.
Out of character, I hope it's not part of our family. In character, it's just like, well, it was completely voluntary of who wanted to come.
Yeah.
I don't think being bowled by a rock was anything we'd foreseen, but they signed up for it.
Ivor got dropped pretty hard, so I don't think he showed up.
That's true. So
Ivor got rocked.
Yeah, that's true. So we'll do it this way. So 1 to 7 is a member of Esferus' house. Anything else is another knight. Other knight. And I'm going to see... It's possible there's more than one person that got hit here. Nope, there's only one. So...
Yay.
Alright, so it's another knight. So one of the Malahaut... or not Malahaut knights, one of the Century knights that is from inside of Eburacum that you invited along. You just watch as this thing bowls right in front of him, and then you just see this like red mist as it connects with him. There's not much left. Both him and his charger go down. Specifically, it does. Let's just see what it got hit with. 'Cause I guess it's possible it does less, but let's be honest, it's not gonna. Oh, 20 is not bad.
I'd have survived that.
Yeah, it's not a bad roll. I think he just gets like maimed, like legs are just shattered in the process.
Oh, I will personally, rescue him after this thing drops.
Okay, and then I think narratively you've got enough with you, enough retinue. There's no way they're not going to help you drop this, so it is going to go down, and we'll narrate past that. All of you with your strikes, you start to watch as spear after spear jabs him in the side as they start to ride around and harry him. He has trouble like trying to even figure out who to focus on as a number of the spears get into him, and he just slowly starts to like deteriorate, and he kind of passes out. Oh, but you're really close to him, aren't you?
I am.
Horsemanship roll, good sirs, who are in melee.
All right.
Because he's fallen down.
I succeed.
Okay. All right, you both succeed. I think for Esphorus, it's interesting. He starts falling down right in your direction because of how close you were to, that it's only by your skill that you're able to kind of pull the horse to the side and get out of the way just before you hear the loud thud. He actually lands on one of the other knights who's now crying out in pain.
Dude, you saw him falling. Why'd you stand there?
We're too close. All right. So, each of you, for that kill, you went in bravely against them. I'm going to give you the lion's share of the glory, so you get 50 glory each for the troll.
All right. I'm gonna go check on the knight that fell to the rock, and I'm gonna do what I can to stabilize him before we take him back to the city to see about getting him proper treatment.
Okay, that will be a first aid roll.
Yep. And I succeed.
You're able to tend to him. He definitely needs surgery. Yeah.
Actually, that's a crit.
Is it? It would be if you didn't have the impassioned.
That wasn't impassioned. Okay, never mind.
That's common. Yeah, unfortunately. So,
What is this guy's name?
The guy who got hurt?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll give it to you. His name is Consus. Consus, not Constus. Consus.
All right.
Is Consus
obviously, everyone's gonna hear about Sir Consus and how he bravely fought this troll.
All right, you're going. Interesting. I would say I'll give you a generous tick for that.
I mean, he's one of the few that actually, he's like the only one who actually got hurt. Yeah, I'm gonna talk up his bravery and his valor.
Okay.
He's the only one that got hurt and lived.
Did anybody actually die?
The guy that got hit by the rock.
That is the guy that got hit by the rock.
No, the guy that got hit by the rock died instantly. There's another dude the troll fell on.
Yeah, the guy that got hit by the rock only took 20 damage.
Yeah, so unfortunately the damage dice rolls failed against me, so he didn't die. He just got maimed.
Okay.
Yeah, basically he got lamed, like his legs were shattered in the process.
Okay.
And so I will.
So technically there were two people that got hurt though. One and a second one got felled upon by the beast. And that guy took like 14 damage after armor. Like his armor didn't absorb a thing of that, right? That's just weight crushing him. So assuming you guys pulled the carcass off him, he would survive. Yeah.
No worse for wear. But the guy who took 20, no, I'm definitely singing his praises.
Awesome. Okay, so this year, there are raids that come, but most of the raids that are on this side of Eburacum. And they come from the north and Dira as well. So Noha and Dira. I will show you one other thing. This is something that, just to give you a layout, because I might refer to this in the future as we come to a close for the night.
All right.
So let me just pull it up here. I'll show you the layout of Malahaut a bit. I'll do it just right on this map, and then I can delete it after. And I'll send you the wiki page where it exists. But effectively, Lindsay is part of... Lindsay is down here, so if we were to try to overlay this, Lindsay's here, right?
All right.
Lindsay's here. Then Annecy is this area around Eburacum, this kind of area. Right here. Like the between the rivers and stuff. Then there's the East Riding, which is basically Dira. And the North Riding, which is south of Nohot. Right?
Alright.
Then there's the West Riding. And then there's the areas like Rostock and the Stroit and Rouse, which are further away in the mountains, things like that. The position of your estate of... what did I call your estate? Eagle Breed Manor. Eagle Breed.
Eagle Breed?
Eagle Breed. Yeah. Eagle Breed Manor is... Oh, I called it Eagle Crest. That was my bad. Eagle Breed. Which do you prefer? I'll go with either.
Eagle Crest.
Yeah, okay. I'll go with that. Eagle Crest Manor is in Annecy, but it's north of Eburacum.
Okay.
And then, obviously, Esforus's house, Solva, it's actually inside of Eburacum, so it's within the protection of the walls. You know that some of the raids during the summertime come dangerously close to your lands. In fact, I'm going to get each of you to give me a D6 roll to see if any of your stuff is impacted.
A D6?
Yeah. Okay. As far as, even though your lands, like your house itself is primarily within Eburacum, you actually own some lands in Annecy that are like where your commoners tend. They unfortunately were ransacked and raided. So it's a pretty big hit to your house. No one in your house died. Oh, well, not yet. We're gonna do some rolls. But no one was killed on the raids. But it is considered a calamity for you.
Okay.
So with that, we're gonna go and get you each to test each of the checks you have on your sheet. Please.
Okay.
We're gonna do a kind of a quick. Actually, no. We're gonna hold off. We're gonna start with Winter Phase next game. I think it'll be an interesting way to start. So we'll kind of level up, so to speak, at the beginning of the next game. At the close of the game now, you're actually brought before the king again.
This time with a troll head that we're giving him.
Indeed. So he would accept the troll head gracefully, but later in the year, closer to the end of autumn, you're pulled before the king, and he has with him one of his head diplomats, Sir Nicholas. King Heraut says, "My Century Knights," and it's just the three of you right now, by the way, or I guess the four of you counting him. "My Century Knights, I'm in need of a favor. If I
Name
ask,
it, my lord."
Very well. "I've been advised," and he looks to Sir Nicholas, very clearly the one advising him, "that despite my reluctance to trust King Uther Pendragon, there is a very real threat that comes spring. We will not only face raids, but a siege against this very city. Our scouts and reports suggest that the numbers of Saxons have all but doubled in this area. We've struggled for years now against them, and the last time we fought with King Uther, we saw our first sign of peace, a sign of a future where we drive these Saxons away. I ask you, both of you, to head to Logris, to go to the king's Christmas court. Personally, on behalf of me, I implore you, all three of you, please, on my behalf, ask for the king's assistance. Tell him that we are ready to ride alongside him against the Saxons. He only but return a reply. We will start with Octaniosa, and once that threat is finished, we will turn our forces down south and assist him with the Saxon shore that he has lost.
My liege.
Anything from Ephorus?
He simply responds, "Yes, yes, sire."
Cool. All right, so we're gonna go into. He says weather permitting, right? So we're gonna go into that scene next time we play.
Between when we leave and being given the orders, I do want to see if I can't talk to King Heraut and
Sure.
sort of impress upon him that Uther did the same thing recently and we turned him away
Okay.
because he didn't come himself.
Right.
You going and asking would have far greater impact. I know
Right.
your place is here.
He considers it, but then he shakes his head. Me abandoning Eburacum now, even temporarily, it will look as if I'm fleeing, and I can't have this place and its morale depleted. We must be prepared for a possibility that King Uther says no.
Forgive me my evidence.
All right, guys. I think that is a good place to leave off. Any last parting words or thoughts as we come to a close for tonight?
Not that I have. I don't have any. Sorry.
Man, why can't we go talk to King Lot instead?
Right?
Who wants Uther on their side when we got Lot that can catch these guys at a pincer?
For sure. I'm going to go ahead and call this session officially done, but I do want to talk to you guys for a few minutes before we stop.
Mhm.